Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You'll be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're in our 20th year, the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community, whether it's food insecurity, it's the homeless, it's Alzheimer's, arts, and all that business. Happy to have in the studio with us today Julie Potiker. She's the owner of Mindful Methods for Life. She's an author, a cool cat. We're going to hear all this stuff she knows. Our 4th year being a co-host, Kristen Fogel, Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. So we're going to have Kristen take a nice lead on this, also joined by our frequent co-host and intermediate podcaster, Om Cabra. How are you doing, Om?
Dude, I'm excited to talk about this podcast.
Very good. All mindful stuff on that business. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, Kristen, to start us off with Julie.
Amazing. So why don't we start with Mindful Methods for Life? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I started that after I became a mindful self-compassion teacher, which was in 2014. But in around 2010, maybe, I realized I needed some mental health help. I was way stressed out with 3 teenagers and aging parents, and it was that typical sandwich lady time.
Yes.
And a neurologist recommended mindfulness-based stress reduction after he cleared me of not having a brain tumor, thank goodness, because my speech was garbled.
Oh.
And so I started mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, which is a super old curriculum from 1979 that's still the gold standard. I took it at UCSD, Center for Mindfulness, where I am now on the teaching team. But who knew what would happen from that class, and then eventually mindful self-compassion getting invented, and then me becoming a teacher of that, and then all these other trainings because I'm a recovering attorney, so I just get down into the weeds on all this stuff, and the neuroscience is fascinating. And so I started teaching and created my own company and opened a meditation center for the JCC, for the community at the J, and blah, 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 blah.
Very cool. So many cool blahs. I mean,
there's a lot of blahs.
We can't gloss over those blahs.
I didn't plan anything.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? It was like I just kept saying yes.
Yeah.
I just was curious and saying yes and doing a ton of stuff in the community. My book launch party for the poetry book is not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my daughter said, well, how do you have 75 RSVPs? And I said, sweetheart, I've been volunteering in this community for more than 30 years. So that's what happens when you're giving away your time, you're giving away your heart and your soul, and people like you because you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Take us back a little bit to, I want to hear a little bit more about the UCSD program because I've heard of it. I have some curiosity there. So tell us just a little bit about that.
So UCSD Center for Mindfulness is really, it's like the gold standard. So if you went on their website and you had a sense of patience, you'd see how many different trainings and courses that they run. One of them is mindful self-compassion. So I'm trained to teach mindful self-compassion, the 8-week class, the 6-week class, but then because I'm me, I adapted it up, down, and sideways. I sliced and diced. I added other people's trainings, and so I had to call it something else, Mindful Methods for Life. So I've done workshops at, serving seniors. I've done workshops for the staff at the La Jolla Playhouse, for the preschool teachers at the JCC. I've been flown places to do like in-service for teachers to do my SNAP workshop, which is just, soothing touch, name the emotion, act, and praise, which just helps people manage their nervous system.
Yeah.
So I created a curriculum for the Golden Door. Now that wasn't those people that go there. That wasn't volunteer. Anyhow, that's a very expensive place. I've never been a guest there. Let me just say that.
It's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. But in any case, all these things happened. And then during the pandemic, Congregation Beth Israel reached out to me right at the lockdown because I pay dues there, even though I don't show up because I'm so secular. They said, will you teach mindfulness and meditation on our learning platform because people are freaking out. And so I started doing that for them, and I'm still doing it every week, and it's more than 6 years.
That's great.
And they're like, can we pay you? I said, no, I'm really going to take money from you? No. But during that time, because I read a poem at the end of every meditation, I started writing poetry. That is why I am now a poet with a published poetry book in my hand, and one for Drew, and
Thank you.
one in the can that I'm now revising, and a third one because all these new poems need to be in a third collection because a second collection was already accepted, and it's all because of me volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. Well, I can't wait to delve into the poetry book over here, but I know Oma has a question for you.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, what is your favorite part about the job? Is it the poetry? Is it your speaking? I'm just curious.
I just want to hear you talk. Just say something else. I love your accent. No, right now it's the poetry. Here's the thing. The poetry, because it's mindfulness poetry, it is an outgrowth of what I've been doing for all these years. It's an opportunity for people to pause, to stop scrolling, to relax, to notice what's around them, to notice what's inside them. So it's literally just another tool in the toolbox that I've been helping people build all these years.
So why poetry and not some other writing form?
So I don't know, but
Yeah.
I have an answer. No, actually.
Yeah. Why not
Because-
haikus?
Oh, well, okay. So there's this very cool. Well, haiku is poetry.
I know. I'm just teasing.
There's-
575. And I stunned, Kristen, when I first said, "You remember what a haiku is?" Oh yeah, Mrs. Large, my 7th grade English teacher, would love the fact that I recited it 400 years later.
So I've actually taken a haiku workshop. My haikus aren't great, but there is a poetry form called the haibun that's a prose poem with a haiku at the end.
It's true. Yeah.
I learned something new today.
Bada bing.
Yes.
So in my third collection, and maybe even in my second collection, because I'm revising stuff, I think that Tech in Me, which is a poem about how much of a spaz I am with technology, is going to be a haibun.
Yeah, I take pride in the fact that I'm Luddite of the year. Okay?
No, I okay, so maybe I am
You're
of the
runner-up.
century. I don't know.
No. Yeah, you're right. What's the name of the book?
It's called Gentle Currents, Poems of Pause and Peace, and I brought one for you.
I look forward to reading that. Did you have any other questions at this point?
I was just, what was your main inspiration for your poems? Like, did you Shakespeare? Because English class, Shakespeare is all in my head.
No, really for me, it's my 5 senses and then interoception, what's going on inside. So it's really mindfulness. Now, there's poems here that are a little bit more instructive, but most of them are just really about slowing down and noticing. And my favorite poets on the planet Earth were generous enough, because that's how poets are, to read my manuscript and to blurb for me.
Oh, nice.
So I have like the hit parade of poets that I adore.
Oh, nice.
that
Yeah,
were-
pass one of those over here. Let's see. Let's check it out.
Is Kristen in the book? You
I
do
am
poetry, do you not?
I do some poetry.
Yeah.
I dabble.
Yeah. We come back from break. We're going to continue the conversation with Julie Potiker, author, poet, owner, Mindful Methods for Life. I want to get into just spot on when we actually slow down and get to enjoy things that are around us. We go, Man, I'm enjoying that more than I thought I would. And we'll talk more about that, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc., and Om Cabra. He's an intermediate podcaster. That's going to be his title today. I'm Drew Schlosberg. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So pleased to have in the studio with us today Julie Potiker, the owner of Mindful Methods for Life and the author of Gentle Currents, Poems of Pause and Peace, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc., and Cabra. He is an intermediate podcaster. Kristen, what do you think about the book?
It's beautiful. Well, okay, so
It is beautiful.
I'm very specific about touch, and so I'm like, it passes my touch test. But also tell us about these beautiful illustrations that are on the cover and
Okay,
inside.
so how much time do I have? Because this is a great little story.
Okay.
You got time. Well, we are still within, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to give you the executive summary of this story. So, Edward Kane is a fine art watercolorist. He's 83 years old. Wow. When Hamas invaded Israel on October 7th, he was visiting one of his longtime best friends in New York City. Edward Kane was born and raised here in San Diego. The guy he was visiting is Jewish. Edward Kane is not Jewish. When that happened, that day, he went with his friend to his friend's synagogue because the wagons were being circled. Everybody's hearts and souls were just stunned, right? He had never been to a synagogue. And he was like, this is interesting. He came back to San Diego. He's like, I want to learn more about this Judaism thing because he's a Zen practitioner, basically, Zen meditation practitioner. He started looking into classes and taking some classes at Congregation Beth Israel, and he saw on their weekly newsletter, Morning Mindfulness with Julie Potiker. He's like, So he shows up in my Zoom room. Then he emails me that was so much easier to access than his Zen practice that he's been doing for decades.
Wow.
And I'm like, welcome aboard, because I do guided, mostly loving kindness meditation. So it's similar to his Zen, but I'm really guiding. And then one day after I read a poem, he says, have you ever thought about publishing your poems? And I could see everybody in the Hollywood squares smile because they knew I was shopping my manuscript. And he said, oh, I'd love to illustrate it.
Wow.
And I said, are you a painter? And then he sent me by email some of his images. And I was like, are you kidding
They're
me?
gorgeous.
Are
They're
you kidding
yeah,
me?
the bird.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So he is now working on my second manuscript. So I had to find a publisher that was willing to do 4-color and to include 25 images. So I was accepted by some traditional publishing houses, but I couldn't have illustrations. And I wasn't willing to let go of my vision of this like beautiful gift book.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So, yes.
What a great story.
It's a great story.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And he's got a lease on life now that because he taught graphic design and something else, some other art thing at a small community college all the way up till he was 80 years old. And when COVID happened, the school folded. And he was sort of at loose ends because he's a healthy elder. What was he going to do with his life? And now he's got this to do with his life.
That's great.
So how hard is it for people to do, because humans, I don't know about humans, the animal kingdom, I understand the animal kingdom, I think, but to sit there, when you do relax and you do sit there and take a step back, it's like when you work out. Boy, that makes me feel good when I work out. And the reason why I do this once a decade is no excuse. When I sit there and put the phone down, or I turn off, just sit outside and listen to the birds chirping, for God's sake. Exactly. It works. And the reason why I don't do that more is why?
Well, I think life...
I can answer for me because I'm an idiot.
Life gets so busy and you're getting dopamine hits all these different ways.
Yeah.
Like your telephone is designed for you to be addicted. I mean, I could go into the neuroscience of this, but it's...
We love neuroscience too.
But here's my invitation to you.
Please.
Because a lot of people aren't going to listen to Balanced Mind with Julie Potiker, where there's hundreds of free meditations, each with a poem. But they might... with their morning coffee, take this book and open it to any page and just slow down. So that's my invitation. And then the proof is in the pudding, because your brain needs a break. You're going to feel better.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, for me, and Kristen knows this, and I'm pretty sure Om's mom knows this. Om's mom is the coolest cat in the world over there, Krishna Cabra. Music is my muse, if that's the right way of using it.
Sure, yeah.
See, I learned something from Kristen. 4
Every
years,
day.
every year. I do.
Every year, yeah, every day, every second.
Live music, or just getting music.
Me too.
And literally.
Me too.
And so forth. And but now I'm going to take a look at this beautiful poetry and Ed Kane's artistry. Yes, Julie.
So let me just say, if you're not worrying and you're not ruminating, which is what you're wired to do as a primate, when you stop doing those things and you drop into the moment, which is what music does for you.
It does.
Absolutely.
You are giving your brain a gorgeous break.
Yeah.
And as many times during the day as you can give your brain a break,
100%.
it adds up to brain health. So when you're brushing your teeth, if you can please feel the toothbrush, hear it if it's electric, taste the toothpaste, have an entire sensory experience, and your toothbrush goes for 2 minutes, that's the cat's pajamas right there.
Yeah.
Your morning coffee, couple sips, just like that, dropping in and out of mindfulness all day long adds up to sitting on the meditation cushion.
Yeah. Well, as Kristen knows, I've been blessed to be able to do a lot of these music things. I'll be going to my 37th New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival next week, and hope I can do 37 more after that. And I've been lucky enough to be a part owner of a boat in front of Humphrey's Stage, so I see 37 concerts a year, and that's what I do now. I've got the Julie Potiker poems with Ed Kane. I'm going to bring this. In fact, I'm going to do this afternoon. Sit outside, put the earbuds on, and hear some music, and think about this conversation. You have another question?
Yeah, I was just curious. How important do you think senses are to like human interaction or just being in the moment? How important? Like as you said, sipping on coffee. Like
they're crucial. They're the most important thing. What you can see, what you can hear, what you can feel, what you can taste, how it feels inside your body. Don't forget about interoception. People forget about that when they talk about their senses. So I teach a sense and savor walk for people when I'm teaching workshops where they go outside and they open up all their sense doors. I do that on the beach, which is just a gift living in San Diego. And You can do your senses one at a time and then open all of them and just, let it all in. And what you're not doing is ruminating and worrying.
Yeah, I think a lot of ruminating, to sit there and just let the mind go, okay? And for me, it's easy, I'm not sure how much is in my mind anyway, for that matter. But one thing I'll say is that when you do these things, and when you take the time to do what you're suggesting, or all the things that make you happy, whatever makes you happy, who knows, in that aspect of it, keep on doing it. It works.
So when you do those things, when you do anything on your joy list, Drew, and you let it land in your body for a dozen seconds and you soak it in, that's enriching it and absorbing it, you're making a happy bridge in your brain. What wires together fires together. The more happy bridges in your brain, the negative ones get pruned out. So all of a sudden, Drew's brain, when it's just mind wandering, which is your default mode network, all of a sudden you're a happier dude.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what's good about this, and Kristen and I have talked about it. I've been very fortunate to be doing this podcast and do several others for 20 years. And I get to talk to people like the Julie Potikers, and Kristen has been a frequent guest, and Ohm's mom has been a frequent guest, and so forth. I do this 48 weeks of the year.
Wow.
And I'm hearing...
That's dedication.
Well, what it is for me, it stimulates you just learning new stuff.
It's all about happy bridges all the time.
Yeah.
100%. And Kristen knows, she's been doing this with me now. She's in her 4th year. We'll have return guests or we'll have brand new guests, which will be a return guest somewhere down the road on this. What can we do to support, the mindful methods for life? You buy the book Gentle Currents, Poems Are Pause and Peace.
Yeah.
Amazon, I imagine. No,
it's on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble, any bookstore, anywhere where you get your books. And I have 2 other books as well.
Please, what they are. What are
Life
they?
Falls Apart, but You Don't Have to. Mindful Methods for Being Calm in the Midst of Chaos is the first book. It's a mindfulness memoir.
Nice.
And Snap, From Chaos to Calm is the second book.
Yeah, listen, they're all good. Unless you aren't living in this planet or you're in some altered state in the Andromeda strain or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of chaos in this world.
Yep.
And I'm a former journalist, so news is me. I work for the Union Tribune on the business side, community and public relations. Turning off what's going on around us is probably not a bad thing in the world we live in today, and so forth. You got a quick question, Om?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what is the biggest takeaway the reader can get from this book? Is it the meditation every morning, every evening, maybe even?
No, I don't want to make any rules for anybody. People have enough stress. Just take what they want from it, and hopefully they'll have a moment of peace.
Awesome.
I think before we go, we have to shout out Ron Salisbury because he's such a great teacher, and you're taking class from him now and part of the certificate program at Writers Inc. And so, just have to shout him out because he's so amazing, and I'm sure has taught you many things as well. So.
He's taught me so many things that I overwrite, and I'm trying to teach too much, and some of my writing is scaffolding. And so he's really helped me in revising.
Yeah, and he's our first poet laureate of San Diego, Drew, so we just have to give him props.
It's funny. No, I think that's great. I was honored to have the U.S. Poet Laureate on the show a couple times. Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I think he was back in New York during one of the interviews, and there was someone I had on after that. I've been doing this thing for 20 years, for God's sake, so I have to go back and see what it was, and that was great.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then one of my good friends, worked at the Union Tribune, started a program called Border Voices in San Diego. Jack Webb, he was a news editor, totally involved. He brought Maya Angelou in and did a presentation at San Diego State.
Wow.
And it was all focused on poetry in the schools and all that business. And
the Union Tribune published my first poem that was ever published. It was published there. Awesome. They had a Sunday thing where they did poetry.
Yeah, and who did you work with?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
But somebody in my Wednesday morning mindfulness group said, send that in to the Union Tribune, and I did, and it's in this book somewhere.
No, that's
it's called
fantastic.
Unbuckle.
Well, what an absolute honor. Thank you so much for the signed edition of Gentle Currents, Poems, and Pause and Peace. I recommend that our audience pick that up. Julie Potiker, promise me this won't be the last time you'll be on our Spotlight show.
I promise.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much for what you do. Om Kabra, thank you for joining us and being a wonderful intermediate podcast co-host. And as always, my good friend, Kristen Fogel, it's wonderful having you sit right next to me.
Thanks for having me.
And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.